Hey guys, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs,
And I'm David Bowling.
and it's time to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals and what in the heck they are going to do as we come out of the All-Star break. Second half begins and the trading deadline approaches. Before we get into all that, please guys go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. All right, David. The Cardinals are honestly, they're a little bit better than I think what we expected. The Cardinals coming out of the All-Star break 50-46. They are 4.5 games back of Milwaukee for first place. They are the second team in the wild card. They are a game and a half to the good for having any wild card spot. And then at the same time, 1.5 games from not being in the playoffs, 5.5 games from having the second best record in the National League. So there's a lot of ways this could go, David.
And let's not mention just an essential Pittsburgh Pirates are a game, was it 2 games behind? Cincinnati's 3, 4 games behind. And then the Cubs are 4.5 games out behind the Cardinals. So everybody's kind of bunched right together.
Yeah, the Cubs 8.5 back of Milwaukee in last place. So we've certainly seen more spread out races. Any team gets hot and wins 10 out of 12 or something, they're going to find themselves right there at second place, closing in on Milwaukee, honestly. Now, for the Cardinals, everybody, I think, gets the vibe that the Cardinals want to be buyers at the trading deadline. And I think it's a matter of, do the Cardinals have the pieces that other teams want? I really think that's the big question.
Well, and the other big question is the pieces they do have, are they willing to give them up?
Yeah, yeah,
So, and what I mean by that is you got Jordan Walker sitting at AAA. Are the Cardinals willing to trade him? Is a big
yeah,
question because that's what every club is going to ask when they go into these trade talks.
yeah. So starting with Walker, my personal opinion is that they are going to think of all the criticism they got for trading guys like Garcia and Arozarena and seeing the two of them next to each other in the home run derby a couple of years back is, I think that's made them super gun shy about prospects, young guys that may develop. I don't think there's any chance they trade Jordan Walker because it's way too easy to see him going to any other franchise in baseball and being a perennial all-star within 3 years. That's too easy to see.
Right.
And that largely has to do with my complete lack of faith in the Cardinals' development and their approach to hitting, but that's an entirely different discussion.
Uh, on the side
I
note,
fully expect that would happen because I think the Cardinals are idiots when it comes to how they develop their guys.
with the emergence of Alec Burleson, uh, the one guy you could possibly look at trading for a pitching arm would be Nolan Gorman. He's a very, very streaky hitter, as he's shown this year,
Mm-hmm.
even where when he gets hot, he can carry your team. But the
Oh
matter
man,
is, can he get hot? It's that consistency issue. He does provide the pop, uh, but and he's that left-handed bat. But the Cardinals, with Burleson going on the tear he's been going on this season, don't necessarily have to rely on Gorman as much anymore, especially with Tommy Edman reportedly potentially coming back within uh I don't know, the
call it a
first
week or
series.
10 days.
Yeah, first week or two after the All-Star break, as he's started his rehab. So assignment down in AA. So depending on how quick he can get things together, because remember, he didn't even have spring training.
Yeah,
The Cardinals are going to look at that as like getting a trade by him coming back to this team with another.
Mozeliak's can use that exact phrase.
Yeah. Uh with another bat in the lineup. So, with that regard, getting him back would open up that option to be able to trade Gorman for a starting pitcher with not just a rental, but with more control on him, possibly. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, the Cardinals could go the route of saying, all right, look, probably not going to catch Milwaukee. Let's look at, these wild card series and let's just get another arm. You throw Sonny Gray out there, hope it's not one of his 1 out of 4, it seems like, days where he just implodes. Because when he's on, and he's maybe the best pitcher in baseball when he's on. Um, you get a second arm close to that, and boom, that wild card series is done with right there, and you're in the division series. That could be the approach. I don't like it, but that very well could be the approach. And honestly, that could be just because what position player is out there that you're going to replace. That's the tricky part. You look at your weak links offensively, and honestly, you're looking at Arenado and Goldschmidt as much as anybody else. And let's face it, you're not replacing them. It's just not happening. Front office wouldn't allow it.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, after them, the only other guys you have are like Ciani and those players, and you're not going to get much for a defensive outfielder.
Yeah.
You're not going to get rid of Mason Wynn. He's shown superstar tendencies already this year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, who do you look at after that? You can get Dylan Carlson or Newt Bar, one of those guys out there, but I don't think they're going to let Newt Bar go. If anybody,
Well, and
Carlson,
even if you did, what are you getting back in a
right,
straight up trade? You're
right.
getting a ho hum middle reliever. That's what you
So,
get in a
so
straight up trade.
then you're
Maybe
looking to
you maybe not even that, honestly.
then you're looking into your minor league system. So if you pair Gorman with like one of your young pitchers that you traded for a couple years ago, that could potentially give you somebody. But it's just a matter of who are you going to go after and who's going to be willing to trade for just that. With all these teams neck and neck, even for the wild card race,
Yeah.
everyone's going to be looking to buy. So you're going to be paying top dollar. And right now, I just don't see, based off past Mosaic operations, him pulling a trigger for anybody other than maybe another bullpen relief where you can just trade a couple minor league players for to bolster the bullpen and try to get through this thing.
I think you brought up an interesting point, which is who's going to actually view themselves as sellers. Right now, looking at the National League standings, specifically the wild card standings, the Marlins are 16 and a half games out of a wild card spot. The Colorado Rockies are a half game better. They are 16 games out of a wild card spot. Everybody else in the National League is within 6 games of a wild card spot. It's bunched up. This National League has a bunch of mediocre teams, the Cardinals being one of them. So you want to get even tighter than that. Washington is the third worst team in the National League at 6 games out of a wild card spot. Last place in the NL Central, the Cubs, 3.5 out of a wild card spot. Fourth place in the NL West, the Giants, they're a half game better. They're 3 out of a wild card spot. I don't know who is going to just decidedly say, "Yep, we're not going to go for it." I mean, yes, that is just the National League. I'm pulling up the American League to see if it's any better, and it's a little more spread out. But
Yeah,
there's still plenty of teams. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, the AL there might be some options, but not that many. What that leads us to here is a market, honestly, a little bit like the housing market, where the demand is there. It's just what kind of supply is there? Who is actually going to be making some of their guys available? And that is the $1 million question. And it's one where some teams, Cardinals, are going to be left empty handed, I think.
Well, and based on their position, they don't necessarily, in Mozeliak's mind, have to do anything because they're already in a playoff spot.
Well, and they're there after having a terrible first 6 weeks of the season. And let's be fair. The Cardinals are one of the best teams in baseball since Mother's Day. You know, that stat's been going around social media. What are the best team in the National League? I think it is second best team in the National League since Ollie got run against the Brewers on Mother's Day.
Yep.
So, okay, let's see what happens. I would like to see the Cardinals add a starter because throwing Palante out there every fifth day is a complete crapshoot. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Well, and credit to him, he's held his own
Oh, he's
actually.
done better than I thought he would.
Yeah, he's
There's
doing
been days
way.
where it's not been good, but I thought that'd be every single time out.
But I mean, honestly, Michaelis looks worse than he does.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I really do think they could stand to get one more starter. I agree with
Yes.
you. It's just who are you going to get and where you're going to get them from?
Yeah, and
The
I think in about the next 10 days we're going to find out who is going to be available. You know, you have someone who comes out of the All-Star break losing 3 out of 4. That could be all it takes for a front office to decide, all right, yep, this guy is in a contract year. He can be a rental for someone else. It could be some as tight as that.
And let's not forget, you got Phillies and Dodgers up top. The Dodgers have a ton of injuries, so with their talent pool and their minor league system as well, they're going to be shopping as well, and they can throw
Yep.
around pretty much whatever they want because they have everything.
Yeah, if
So,
they need to, they'll just say, and we'll give you $100 million and without breaking a sweat.
so the competition is going to be stiff. It's going to be how much is Zaylock going to be willing to give up, which in my opinion is not going to be much. Which is why
I think
stand.
he's gun shy for the rest of his career. I really
Yeah,
do.
and I think it goes back to I don't think much is going to happen other than maybe a bullpen arm to help
Yep.
with all the usage that the bullpen's gone through, which is why um, our closer help me
Elsley.
out. Helsley is not even performing in an All-Star game because he wants to manage his innings. Uh,
Yeah.
so I mean, they know they're getting ready for the stretch, and they know top most likely not a whole lot of help is coming.
Right.
So as you said, the next 10 days could really spread everybody out and really show who's going to be selling and who's going to be buying, and it's going to get real interesting for sure.
Yeah. Or everybody could start off about the same and we have no more separation. And then it's just who makes the really fat deal, real sweet deal for somebody. And then all hell could break loose at that point.
But I've heard a lot of pundits on MLB say they don't think there's going to be much movement this year in the trade thing just because of how bunched up everybody is. Nobody's going to be willing to pay for what's out there. So it's going to
Oh
be
yeah, the
real
cost is gonna
interesting.
be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see how this all unfolds. And then let's not forget, Goldschmidt's contract is up at the end of the year, so the Cardinals are going to have that coming off the books. And my guess is Burleson's going to move to first base, and then they're going to figure out from there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
You bring up, a crazy scenario of Goldie being a rental somewhere else. I think that's probably complete craziness that's coming out of my mouth, to be fair. But maybe. I don't know. I don't know who'd want him, to be frank, but maybe there's an injury.
Yeah, I agree with you. Crazy scenario.
But someone has their first baseman get injured. Goldie's the perfect guy to trade for.
In the meantime,
Former MVP, but his value is plummeting because of his performance, and he's a rental.
true. But Eric, in the meantime, we're going to enjoy the calm before the storm with this All-Star break, and we'll keep everybody updated with all things St. Louis Cardinals as they happen. So thank you guys for watching.